The morning started like any other Tuesday at the research center. Dr. Maya Rodriguez was checking her equipment when the alarms went off. Red lights flashed everywhere, and the announcement echoed through the hallways, "Incoming vessel detected. All personnel to stations." Maya had been working at the government facility for 3 years, but her heart still raced every time they got a visitor from another world. She grabbed her tablet and rushed to the landing bay, where a crowd of scientists and officials had already gathered behind the safety barriers. The ship that descended from the sky was unlike anything Maya had seen before. It was small, barely bigger than a school bus, and covered in what looked like burn marks. Smoke poured from its engines as it touched down with a heavy thud that shook the ground. "Looks like they had a rough journey," whispered Dr. Chen, the facility director, as he adjusted his glasses nervously. The ship's door opened with a loud hiss, and steam poured out. Everyone held their breath, waiting to see what would emerge. Maya pressed closer to the barrier, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. What stepped out was not what anyone expected. It was a young girl, or at least something that looked like a girl. She was about the same size as a human teenager, but her skin had a strange, shimmering quality that made it hard to look at directly. More concerning to everyone present was the thick, oily substance that covered her from head to toe. It dripped from her hair and clothes, leaving dark puddles on the clean floor. "My goodness," gasped Dr. Peterson, the facility's medical officer. "She's completely covered in some kind of secretion." The girl looked around with wide, scared eyes that seemed to glow with their own light. She was carrying what appeared to be a small device in her hands, and when she pressed a button, a mechanical voice spoke in perfect English. "Please, help me. I seek sanctuary. My world is gone." The translation device continued to speak as the girl held it up with trembling hands. "I am Zara of the Crystal Valleys. I have traveled far. I am alone." Maya noticed how the girl's voice, even through the translator, carried a deep sadness that made her chest tighten. This wasn't just a visitor from another world. This was someone who had lost everything. But the reaction from her colleagues was immediate and harsh. "We can't let her into the facility like that," Dr. Peterson announced, stepping backward. "Look at her. She's covered in some kind of biological contamination." "The protocols are clear," added Dr. Chen, though Maya could see the conflict in his eyes. "Any visitor showing signs of unknown substances must be isolated immediately." "But she's just a child," Maya found herself saying, though she wasn't sure why. She spoke up. Something about the way the girl stood there, alone and frightened, reminded her of her own daughter. "Child or not, we don't know what that substance is," Dr. Peterson replied firmly. "It could be toxic. It could be contagious. We need to run tests." The security team moved in, wearing full protective suits that made them look like robots. They gestured for the girl to follow them, but she didn't understand. When they tried to guide her, she backed away, pressing herself against her damaged ship. "Wait," Maya called out, but the security chief held up his hand. "Standard procedure, Dr. Rodriguez. She goes to isolation first." Maya watched as they led the girl away, her glowing eyes darting around frantically as she tried to understand what was happening. The oily substance on her skin seemed to get thicker, as if her fear was making it worse. The isolation room was a sterile white box with a single chair and a small table. Through the thick glass window, Maya could see the girl sitting hunched over, still clutching her translator. The substance covering her skin had started to form strange patterns, like ripples on water. The scanners show no harmful pathogens, Dr. Peterson announced to the assembled team an hour later. "Whatever that substance is, it's not dangerous to us, but I still don't recommend direct contact." "What about her?" Maya asked. "How is she doing?" "Physically, she appears stable, but look at these readings." Dr. Peterson pulled up a chart on his tablet. "Her stress levels are off the charts. That substance she's secreting seems to be getting thicker by the hour." Maya looked back through the window. The girl was rocking slightly, her translator occasionally speaking phrases like "family gone" and "home destroyed" each time she spoke. The oily coating seemed to pulse and spread, Maybe she needs help, Maya suggested. Maybe that stuff isn't contamination at all. What do you mean? Dr. Chen asked. Think about it. She just lost her entire world. She's traveled who knows how far, alone, in a damaged ship. She's terrified and surrounded by strangers. What if that substance is her body's way of dealing with extreme stress? Dr. Peterson shook his head. That's speculation. We need to follow protocols. But Maya couldn't shake the feeling that they were missing something important. She spent the rest of the day reading everything she could find about stress responses in different species, about how trauma could manifest physically in beings they'd never encountered before. As evening approached, Maya made one more trip to the isolation room. The girl was still there, still alone, still covered in that mysterious substance. But now Maya noticed something else. The girl's eyes kept moving toward the small sink in the corner of the room, and she would occasionally touch the translator and whisper something that sounded like water. She wants water, Maya realized, speaking to the empty hallway. Not to drink, to wash. The pieces started falling into place in Maya's mind. The substance wasn't contamination or disease. It was something the girl's body produced when she was scared or sad, and just like humans might cry when they were upset. Maybe this girl's species did something similar, but in a way that looked frightening to human eyes. Maya made a decision that would change everything. She was going to help this girl, even if it meant breaking every rule in the book. Standing there in the hallway, looking at the scared young being through the glass, Maya knew that sometimes being human meant choosing kindness over caution, compassion over protocol. Tomorrow, she would find a way to give this girl what she needed most, not just safety, but the simple dignity of being treated like a person instead of a problem to be solved. Maya couldn't sleep that night every time she closed her eyes. She saw the girl's scared face through the glass. She kept thinking about how alone she looked, how the strange substance on her skin seemed to get thicker every time someone walked past her room without stopping. The next morning, Maya arrived at the facility early. She went straight to the isolation room, carrying a cup of coffee and a small breakfast tray. Through the window, she could see that things had gotten worse overnight. The girl was curled up in the corner, and the oily coating now covered almost everything she touched. Morning, Dr. Rodriguez called out Jake, one of the security guards. She's been like that all night, barely moved. Maya pressed her face closer to the glass. The girl's translator was lying on the floor, its battery dead. Without it, she couldn't even communicate her needs. Has anyone tried to help her? Maya asked. Jake shrugged. Dr. Peterson said to maintain distance until further notice. Something about waiting for test results from the lab. Maya felt her frustration growing. Jake, look at her. She's just a scared kid who's been through something terrible. I know, Doc, but orders are orders. Maya spent the next hour watching the girl through the glass. She noticed how the young alien would occasionally reach toward the sink, then pull her hand back. How she would touch the dead translator and make soft sounds. That didn't need translation to understand. They were sounds of sadness. When Dr. Chen arrived for the morning briefing, Maya was ready. We need to help her, she said before he could even sit down. Maya, we've been through this, Dr. Chen replied, adjusting his glasses. The protocols exist for good reasons. But what if the protocols are wrong this time? Maya pulled up her research from the night before. I've been reading about stress responses in different species. What if that substance isn't contamination? What if it's just how her people react to trauma? Dr. Peterson walked in just in time to hear her question. Dr. Rodriguez, I understand your concern, but we can't make assumptions about alien biology based on guesswork. Then let me talk to her, Maya said firmly. Let me bring her a new translator battery and actually communicate with her. Maybe she can tell us what she needs. Absolutely not, Dr. Peterson responded. Direct contact is forbidden until we know more. But Maya wasn't giving up. She spent the next few hours digging through every file they had on previous alien visitors. She found reports of other species who had physical reactions to emotional stress. She found cases where their protocols had been too harsh. to focus on safety and not enough on understanding. During lunch break, Maya made her move. She grabbed a new battery for the translator and approached the isolation room. Jake was on his break, and the hallway was empty. She put on basic protective gloves and opened the door. The girl looked up in surprise, her glowing eyes wide with fear. Maya held up her hands to show she meant no harm and slowly approached with the translator. "Battery, it's okay," Maya said softly. "I'm here to help." The girl understood the gentle tone even without the translator. She carefully handed over the device, and Maya quickly replaced the battery. When it came back to life, the girl's first words made Maya's heart break. "Please don't hurt me. I have nowhere else to go." "I'm not going to hurt you," Maya said, kneeling down to be at eye level. "My name is Maya. I'm a scientist, but I'm also a mother. I want to help you." The girl's eyes filled with tears, actual tears, just like humans. "My name is Zara. I come from the crystal valleys of Kepler 440b. My world is gone." Through the translator, Zara began to tell her story. Her planet had been hit by massive storms that turned their crystal cities to dust. Her family had put her on the last evacuation ship, but the journey had taken months longer than planned. She'd been alone, scared, and grief-stricken the entire time. "This coating on your skin," Maya said gently, "is this normal for your people?" Zara nodded sadly. "When we experience great sorrow or fear, our bodies produce this protective layer. It's supposed to be washed away in our sacred pools." But she looked around the sterile room. "I have not been able to cleanse myself properly since I left home." Maya felt a surge of understanding. "You need to wash it off. That's why you keep looking at the sink." "Yes, but not with cold water. My people use warm, moving water. It helps us release our grief and fear. Without the cleansing ritual, the coating grows thicker and can become dangerous to my health." Maya's mind raced. The girl wasn't dirty or contaminated. She was stuck in a biological stress response that her own people had rituals to handle. But those rituals required something the sterile facility couldn't provide: warmth, compassion, and proper care. "Zara," Maya said carefully, "what if I could help you with this cleansing ritual? What if I could take you somewhere with warm water and a safe place to heal?" Zara's eyes lit up with hope. "You would do that, even though I look frightening to your people?" "You don't look frightening to me," Maya said honestly. "You look like someone who needs help. And that's what humans do. We help each other." Maya knew what she was about to do would get her in serious trouble. But as she looked at this young being who had lost everything, she realized that sometimes doing the right thing meant breaking the rules. "Zara, I'm going to get you out of here. I'm going to take you to my home where you can have a proper bath and some real food. But we have to be careful, okay? Why would you risk yourself for me?" Zara asked through the translator. Maya smiled. "Because that's what mothers do. We take care of children who need help, no matter where they come from." Over the next hour, Maya carefully planned their escape. She would falsify some paperwork, claim she was taking Zara to a specialized treatment facility off-site. It was risky, but Maya couldn't stand the thought of leaving this scared, grieving child alone for another night. As they prepared to leave, Zara grabbed Maya's hand. The strange coating didn't feel unpleasant. It was warm and slightly tingly, like touching a gentle electric current. "Thank you," Zara whispered. "I have not felt kindness since I lost my family." Maya squeezed her hand back. "You're not alone anymore. Let's go home." Walking out of that facility with Zara was the scariest and most important thing Maya had ever done. She was about to discover that sometimes the best first contact between species happened not in a laboratory, but in a simple act of human compassion. The drive to Maya's house felt like the longest 20 minutes of her life. Zara sat quietly in the passenger seat, staring out the window with wonder. Everything was new to her: the trees, the buildings, the way sunlight looked different on Earth than it had on her home planet. "Are those your people's dwellings?" Zara asked through her translator, pointing at the suburban houses they passed. "Yes, that's where families live," Maya explained, trying to keep her voice calm even though her heart was racing. "Each house has different families inside. They're all different, but they're all homes. On my world, we lived in crystal towers that sang with the wind, Zara said softly. The sound was like music. I miss that music. Maya glanced at her new friend and noticed something interesting. Just talking about her home seemed to make the coating on Zara's skin shimmer differently, like it was responding to her emotions. When they pulled into Maya's driveway, her neighbor Mrs. Patterson was watering her garden. She looked up curiously, but just waved politely. Maya wondered what she would think if she knew an alien was sitting in the car. "This is your dwelling?" Zara asked as they approached the front door. "This is my home," Maya corrected gently, "and for now, it's your home too, inside." Maya's house was warm and welcoming. Family photos lined the walls, and the living room had comfortable furniture that had seen years of use. Zara stood in the doorway, taking it all in. "It feels safe," she said through the translator, and Maya could hear the surprise in her voice. "That's the idea," Maya smiled. "Home should always feel safe. Are you hungry? I could make you something to eat." But Zara shook her head. The cleansing ritual must come first. My people believe that we cannot truly nourish our bodies until we have cleansed our spirits. Maya nodded understandingly. "Let me show you to the bathroom. I'll run you a nice warm bath." As they walked down the hallway, Zara stopped at a family photo showing Maya with her teenage daughter Lisa. "You have a young one," Zara observed. "Yes, that's my daughter. She's away at college now, but this is still her home too. She has kind eyes, like you." Zara said, "On my world, we could always tell a person's heart by looking at their eyes." Maya felt a warmth spread through her chest. "What do my eyes tell you?" "That you see me as a person, not as a strange thing to be feared." In the bathroom, Maya began filling the tub with warm water. She added some lavender bath salts, hoping the scent would be soothing rather than overwhelming. "Is this water safe for your skin?" Maya asked, suddenly worried she might be making a mistake. Zara knelt beside the tub and dipped her fingers in. The moment the warm water touched her skin, something amazing happened. The thick coating began to dissolve, swirling away like oil in water. Where it washed off, Zara's true skin was revealed. A beautiful pearlescent surface that shifted between silver and soft blue. "Oh my," Maya breathed. "You're beautiful." Zara looked up with tears in her eyes. "I had forgotten what I looked like underneath all that sadness. Take all the time you need," Maya said, backing toward the door. "I'll be right outside if you need anything." "Wait," Zara called. "In my culture, the cleansing ritual is not done alone. Someone who cares for you stays nearby to offer comfort and witness your healing. Would you stay?" Maya felt honored by the request. She pulled up a small stool and sat beside the tub, respectfully looking away as Zara settled into the warm water. As Zara sank into the bath, she began to make soft sounds, not quite singing, but something like it. The translator couldn't capture it, but Maya could feel the emotion behind the sounds. It was like listening to someone release months of held-in pain. "This is how we mourn on my world," Zara explained between the soft sounds. "We let the water carry away our grief so we can remember the joy." The coating continued to wash away, revealing more of Zara's true appearance. Her skin had delicate patterns that looked like flowing water, and Maya realized they were probably natural markings, like birthmarks. "Tell me about your family," Maya said gently, "if you want to." Zara's voice grew soft with memory. "My mother grew the most beautiful singing plants. They would chime when the wind touched them. My father was a crystal shaper. He could make the most amazing sculptures that caught light and threw rainbows everywhere. My little brother," her voice broke. "My little brother was learning to make the crystals sing. He was so proud when he made his first melody." Maya felt her own eyes fill with tears. "They sound wonderful. I'm so sorry you lost them." "They are not lost," Zara said, touching her heart. "They live here now. The cleansing ritual helps me remember them with joy instead of only sadness." As the last of the coating washed away, Zara seemed to transform completely. Her skin glowed with a soft inner light, and the patterns on her arms and face became more visible, intricate designs that looked like flowing water or wind patterns. "You look like living art," Maya said in amazement. This is how my people truly appear. Zara explained. The coating hides our true selves when we are in distress. It is protection, but it is also prison. After the bath, Maya brought Zara some of her daughter's old clothes, soft sweatpants, and a comfortable t-shirt. That fit reasonably well. Zara examined the fabric with curiosity. These are woven from plant fibers? She asked. Cotton. Yes. Is that different from your world? We wore crystals shaped into flexible sheets, but these are soft and warm. I like them. In the kitchen, Maya prepared a simple meal while Zara sat at the table. Looking around with wonder, everything was fascinating to her. The way the refrigerator hummed, how the microwave heated food, the photos and drawings stuck to the fridge with magnets. Maya, Zara said suddenly, why did you risk your safety to help me? Maya set down the sandwich she was making and looked at her new friend. Because I looked at you and saw someone who needed help. That's what humans do. At least, that's what we're supposed to do. Not all of your people felt that way. No, Maya admitted. Fear makes people do things they wouldn't normally do. But that doesn't make it right. Zara nodded thoughtfully. My people have a saying. The heart that opens to help a stranger opens to the whole universe. I think I understand it better now. As they ate together, Maya watched Zara slowly relax. The scared, desperate creature from the facility was gone, replaced by a young being who was curious, thoughtful, and surprisingly wise. What happens now? Zara asked as they finished eating. Maya took a deep breath. Now we figure out how to help your people understand mine and help my people understand yours. But first, we rest. You've been through enough for one day. That night, as Maya made up the guest room for Zara, she realized that everything had changed. She'd started the day as a scientist following protocols and ended it as someone who had chosen love over fear, connection over caution. Looking at Zara, now clean and safe and no longer alone, Maya knew she'd made the right choice. Sometimes the most important discoveries weren't made in laboratories, but in the simple act of treating another being with kindness and respect. Monday morning came too soon. Maya woke up to find Zara already awake, sitting by the window and watching the sunrise. Her skin still glowed with that soft inner light, and the patterns on her arms seemed to dance in the morning sun. Did you sleep well? Maya asked, joining her at the window. Better than I have in months, Zara replied through her translator. Your world's sun feels different on my skin, gentler than the one I knew. Maya smiled, but her stomach was tight with worry. In a few hours, she would have to return to the facility and face the consequences of what she'd done. She'd broken so many rules that she'd lost count. Are you ready to go back? Maya asked softly. Zara nodded. I'm not the same person who left that place, thanks to you. I remember who I truly am. The drive to the facility was quiet. Maya kept glancing at Zara, who sat calmly in the passenger seat, her skin no longer covered in the thick coating that had made everyone so afraid. She looked like a completely different being, confident, peaceful, and undeniably beautiful. When they walked through the facility doors, heads turned everywhere. The security guards did double takes, and Dr. Peterson dropped his coffee cup when he saw them. Dr. Rodriguez. Dr. Chen's voice echoed down the hallway. My office, now. Maya squeezed Zara's hand. Whatever happens, remember that you're safe now. I know. Zara replied, and I will not let them punish you for showing kindness. Dr. Chen's office was packed with people Maya had never seen before. Government officials in dark suits, military officers with serious faces, and several department heads looking very unhappy. Maya's heart sank. This was worse than she'd expected. Dr. Rodriguez, Dr. Chen began, his voice strained. Do you understand the gravity of what you've done? I helped someone who needed help. Maya said simply, you violated every protocol we have, snapped a woman in a Navy suit. You removed an alien being from secure custody without authorization. You falsified government documents. You could face criminal charges. Maya felt the room spinning, but she kept her voice steady. I did what I thought was right? The woman's voice rose. You put national security at risk. You exposed civilian populations to unknown biological threats. She saved my life. Everyone turned to look at Zara, who had been standing quietly in the corner. She stepped forward, her translator in her hands. I am Zara of the Crystal Valleys, she said clearly, and I need to tell you something important about my people. Dr. Peterson cleared his throat. The subject should remain silent during no. Zara interrupted, her voice firm. Dr. Rodriguez risked everything to help me. The least I can do is tell you the truth. She looked around the room at all the serious faces. What you saw on my skin was not contamination. It was grief. When my people experience extreme sorrow or fear, our bodies produce a protective coating. It is meant to shield us from further harm. We know this already, Dr. Peterson said impatiently. But what you don't know, Zara continued, is what happens if the coating is not properly removed. After a certain amount of time, it begins to harden and become toxic. Without the cleansing ritual, I would have died within days. The room fell silent. Maya felt her heart pounding. You're saying the substance was dangerous to you? Dr. Chen asked. Yes, but only to me. It was my body's way of protecting itself, but it was also slowly poisoning me. Dr. Rodriguez didn't just show me kindness, she literally saved my life. One of the military officers leaned forward. Why didn't you tell us this before? Because you never asked. Zara said simply, you saw something that looked frightening and decided I was dangerous. You put me in a cold, sterile room and watched me through glass. How was I supposed to explain something so important to people who wouldn't even come close enough to listen? Maya watched as the officials exchanged uncomfortable glances. She could see them realizing that their protocols had nearly caused exactly what they were trying to prevent. Furthermore, Zara continued, in my culture, the act of helping someone through the cleansing ritual creates a sacred bond. Dr. Rodriguez is now considered family to me. To punish her would be to punish someone who performed a life-saving ceremony. A ceremony? Dr. Chen asked. Yes. What you call a bath is actually one of our most sacred rituals. It represents acceptance, trust, and the willingness to help someone heal from trauma. Dr. Rodriguez didn't just give me clean water. She gave me back my life and my dignity. The woman in the navy suit looked frustrated. Regardless of cultural significance, protocols exist for good reasons, do they? Zara asked. Your protocols would have let me die while you ran tests on my dead body. Is that really good? Maya watched the room carefully. She could see the conflict on people's faces. Some still looked angry, but others were beginning to understand. Dr. Chen rubbed his temples. This is complicated. It's not complicated, Zara said firmly. It's simple. Dr. Rodriguez saw a scared child who needed help, and she chose to help. That is what good people do. But she broke the law, insisted the navy suit woman. Then perhaps the law needs to change, Zara replied, if your laws prevent you from saving lives. What good are they? The room erupted in whispered conversations. Maya could hear fragments, public relations nightmare, precedent, review of protocols. Finally, Dr. Chen called for order. We need time to discuss this situation. Dr. Rodriguez, you're suspended pending investigation. But he looked at Zara, then back at Maya. Given the unusual circumstances, you're suspended with pay while we review our procedures. Maya felt a mixture of relief and worry. She wasn't going to jail, but her career was still in danger. If I may, Zara said, stepping forward again. I would like to propose something. What? Dr. Chen asked. Let me work with you to improve your protocols. I can help you understand my people better, and maybe prevent this situation from happening again. But I want Dr. Rodriguez to be part of that process. She understands something that the rest of you are still learning. What's that? Asked one of the military officers. That the most important part of first contact isn't the science or the security. Zara said, it's the moment when two different beings choose to trust each other. Dr. Rodriguez trusted me enough to help, and I trusted her enough to accept that help. That's how real relationships between species begin. Maya felt tears in her eyes. This young being, who had lost everything, was now fighting to protect the person who had helped her. We'll consider your proposal, Dr. Chen said finally. But for now, both of you need to stay available for further questioning. As they left the office, Maya realized that everything had changed Aga, and she walked in expecting to lose her job, maybe even go to prison. Instead, she might have just helped create a whole new approach to alien contact. Thank you, she whispered to Zara as they walked down the hallway. Thank you, Zara replied. You showed me that not all humans are afraid of what they don't understand. Some are brave enough to choose kindness instead. Maya smiled, knowing that whatever happened next, she made the right choice. Sometimes the most important discoveries came not from following the rules, but from knowing when to break them. 6 months later, Maya stood in the same hallway where she had first seen Zara. But everything was different now. The sterile white walls had been painted in warm colors, and comfortable seating areas had been added throughout the facility. Instead of the cold, clinical atmosphere of before, the place now felt welcoming. Dr. Rodriguez, the new arrivals are here, called Jake, the security guard who had become one of Zara's biggest supporters after learning her story. Maya smiled and headed toward the landing bay, but not the same one where Zara had first arrived. The new landing area was designed with input from multiple alien species, featuring adjustable lighting, temperature controls, and private spaces where new arrivals could feel safe while adjusting to their new environment. As she walked, Maya passed photos on the walls showing successful integrations, alien families who had found new homes on Earth, interspecies research teams working together, and cultural exchange programs that had enriched both human and alien communities. But her favorite photo was the one that showed her and Zara on the day the new protocols had been officially approved. They were both smiling, standing next to Dr. Chen, who had become one of their strongest advocates once he understood what they were trying to accomplish. The transformation hadn't been easy. For weeks after that confrontation in Dr. Chen's office, Maya had endured meetings, interviews, and reviews. Government officials had questioned every decision she'd made, every rule she'd broken. But Zara had been by her side through all of it, patiently explaining her culture and helping humans understand that compassion wasn't weakness. It was strength. The turning point had come when other alien species who were already living on Earth heard about what had happened. They came forward to share their own stories of difficult rivals, of being misunderstood because of their appearance or customs. Their testimonies had helped officials realize that the old protocols weren't just ineffective, they were actively harmful. Now, Maya served as Director of Interspecies Relations, a position that didn't exist before her decision to help one scared young alien. Her job was to ensure that no one would ever again have to suffer alone in a sterile room while others watched. Through glass, as she entered the new rival area, Maya saw 3 beings from the Andromeda system standing near their ship. They looked nervous but hopeful, unlike the fear and desperation she had seen in Zara's eyes that first day. Welcome to Earth, Maya said warmly, approaching with a translator and a team of volunteers from multiple species. I'm Dr. Rodriguez, and we're here to help you feel at home. The tallest of the 3 beings, who appeared to be their leader, stepped forward. We have heard stories of this place, stories that say humans and others live in peace here. That's right, Maya confirmed. We've learned that the best way to build trust is to treat each other with kindness and respect, regardless of where we come from. As her team began the welcome process, offering food, comfortable places to rest, and information about Earth. In the newcomer's own language, Maya noticed a familiar figure approaching. Zara walked up with her usual graceful step, her skin glowing softly in the warm lighting. She had grown over the past months, not just physically, but in confidence and purpose. She now served as a cultural liaison, helping other alien refugees adjust to life on Earth. How are they doing? Zara asked, watching the new arrivals with concern. Better than we could have hoped, Maya replied. They seem relieved to be here. I remember that feeling, Zara said softly. The relief of finding safety after so much fear. Maya looked at her friend, because that's what Zara had become. Not just an alien she had helped, but a true friend and daughter figure. Do you ever regret coming here? Zara smiled, and her skin pattern shifted to show contentment, something Maya had learned to read over the months. Never. Earth has given me something I thought I had lost forever. What's that? Family. Zara said simply, you taught me that family isn't just about blood or species. It's about choosing to care for each other. Maya felt the familiar warmth in her chest. That came whenever Zara said something wise beyond her years. You've taught me a lot too. You've taught all of us. That being different isn't something to fear. Later that evening, Maya and Zara sat in Maya's backyard, watching the sunset. It had become their routine, a quiet time to talk about the day and plan for tomorrow. Maya's daughter Lisa was home from college for the weekend, and she was inside making dinner for all of them. Maya, Zara said, using the name instead of the formal title she had used in the early days. I've been thinking about something. What's that? When I first arrived, I was so focused on my loss that I couldn't see what I might gain. But now I realize that sometimes losing everything can lead to finding something even better. Maya nodded thoughtfully. You mean like how losing your home planet led you to find a new home here? Yes, but more than that, Zara explained. I lost my biological family, but I gained something I never had before, the chance to be part of building something new. The work we do here, helping others like me, it gives meaning to everything I went through. You've helped so many people. Zara, not just aliens, but humans too. You've helped us become better than we were. We've helped each other, Zara corrected gently. That's what real family does. Through the kitchen window, Maya could see Lisa setting the table, moving around the familiar space with ease. Soon she would graduate and start her own career, probably in interspecies medicine, inspired by watching her mother and Zara work together. You know what I'm most proud of? Maya asked. What? That night when I decided to help you. I was terrified. I didn't know if I was making the right choice. But I chose to listen to my heart instead of my fear. And look what came from that choice. Zara said, gesturing toward the house where Lisa was humming while she cooked, toward the facility in the distance where beings from dozens of worlds now work together in harmony. Sometimes I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't been working that day, Maya mused. If someone else had been there when you arrived. Zara was quiet for a moment, then spoke softly. I think the universe has a way of putting the right people in the right place at the right time. You were meant to be there, Maya, just like I was meant to come here. As the stars began to appear in the darkening sky, Maya thought about all the lives that had been changed by one simple decision. The decision to see a frightened being as someone who needed help rather than something to be feared. The facility now welcomed dozens of alien refugees each month. Humans and aliens work side by side in research labs, schools, and communities across the globe. Children grew up learning that diversity was something to celebrate, not fear. But, more importantly, Maya had learned that the most profound changes in the universe often started with the smallest acts of kindness, a warm bath, a safe place to sleep, and someone willing to listen. These simple things had transformed not just two lives, but the entire relationship between species. Come on, Maya said, standing up as Lisa called them for dinner. Let's go home. Zara smiled and took her hand. I am home, she said. I've been home since the day you chose to see me as family instead of a stranger. As they walked toward the house together, Maya realized that this was what true success looked like. Not awards or recognition, but the simple joy of sharing a meal with the people you love, regardless of what planet they came from. The scared, dirty alien girl who had once stood alone in a sterile room was gone. In her place was a confident young woman who helped others find their way home. And the scientist who had once followed protocols without question had become someone who understood that the most important discoveries happened when you open your heart to the impossible.